All right. Perfect. So, as a reminder, we are in our 10th week, 10th day of Intro to Ethics of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, morality, uprightness, and the self-accusing spirit. Just a couple announcements. There is no class on Thursday. Today is this week's class. There will still be a homework assignment. So your homework that was due on Wednesday, this Wednesday is still due this Wednesday evening, and you'll still have a new assignment for the following week. So please pay attention to Google Classrooms for that information. But yeah, there's no class this week, and then we'll return, inshallah, next, not this Thursday, but next Thursday with our normal class time. And then our Q&A, today's theme is still the hereafter is now. Brother Abel, we have been going over different things, the value of youth. And in the youth, there was you in it. A little bit of a pun, and also, but now we are on the theme, the hereafter. The hereafter is now. And so we talk about the power of words and thought. What does heaven mean based on the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? And now what the hereafter is now is also this Q&A session, right? Like, how can we get ourselves to the mindset understanding that the hereafter is now through our understanding of things. So I want to stop my screen share, and we're going to go into the questions. I'm still waiting on one student to please respond to that direct message that I have sent them about why their camera is off. Please, if you have told me why you're off camera, please, that you're off camera, please let me know why you're off camera. And because I don't want to go too much into Brother Abel's time, so that is why we're going to still move forward with class at this moment. So first, Brother Abel, I think it's important to set the foundation of this class. There was a question, the questions that are coming in, and the ask when they were asking these questions was to be radically honest. And so I think in that spirit, it's important to set the foundation understanding of why are we even doing this class, because that was a question that someone had asked. And so I would like for you to, if you could answer the first question, and I'll answer the rest of the questions about pertaining to this class. And the question was, why do the high schoolers who didn't have to do anything with the group chat and didn't know anything about the group chat have to do this mandatory class? Because from my understanding, it's a punishment for those who knew about it or were in it. That's the question for you. And then the question I will answer is, how long will this class be? Can we have less work in the assignments? And why does the class always go over the break? I want to address that because I think that's important to kind of understand why you're even here, Brother Abel. So please go ahead and answer that.
Yes, ma'am. So first, let me just greet everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ and our eternal leader, teacher, and guide. And we bear witness further that his divine extension reminder in our midst is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in their names, we greet one another in the greeting words of peace in our original language of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Walaikum salam,
salam.
sir.
That's a good question. And I think that we first have to frame your understanding of what this class is. First, it's not a punishment. The class is not a punishment, so your understanding of it is incorrect to begin with. If it was a punishment, then in truth, it would not be really beneficial for you. It would just be a consequence that you would have to deal with. The class was formulated in order that you, as a group of high schoolers, whether you were a part of what happened or not, the concept of ethics, morality, proper conduct is one that is a lifelong study for every human being. So we took the opportunity that was presented by the circumstances to instill this as a very concentrated form of making sure that every young person, because we all have different backgrounds, come from different places, that everyone understands what the standard is. So if you know the standard, that's great. And perhaps it will still introduce to you things that you were unaware I think we're going back to the
I
main.
apologize. My whole Zoom is glitching. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. So we're fine here, though, I think. So we just stay in this room? Oh, all right, great.
Yes, sir. And I'm making you spotlight because
Got it.
I don't know what's going on. I apologize.
No worries, no worries. So what we're looking for then is this class is an opportunity for all to benefit from. If we already have some understanding of proper behavior, great. Then this is just going to help reinforce that. And you might be able to help others who aren't necessarily where we've grown to. But we might be surprised that there are parts where even we misunderstand certain things. So, even for example, the concept that this is a punishment, it's not a punishment. The punishment would be a suspension, something to that effect. This is a part of helping to bolster and strengthen each student so that when you're faced with another circumstance, it's not enough sometimes to just not be a part of, though that's good, to excuse yourself from certain situations. That's what the Quran prescribes, right? When you hear people talking and saying things in ignorance and that you don't want to be a part of, just say peace and keep moving. However, our ethic and our way in the Nation of Islam has another stage to it where we report all slackness and wrongdoing. So it's not enough to say, "Oh, I saw my brother doing wrong and I'm just not going to participate." That's good. That's a start. But the next level is to then say, "It's not right. I have to let somebody know." And then even another stage of it, which is probably the most difficult, is when you hear or see your brother or sister doing what you know and they know is wrong, is then helping them to correct that by pointing it out. And so this class as a whole that you're embarked now on the 10th week of is towards that end. Not to punish you like you got to sit here with Sister Kadira and she's going to give you work to do and you're going to have to write it by hand and your fingers are going to hurt. No, that's punishment to do that kind of thing where you got to write a bunch of lines. No, that's not what you're being given here. You're being given that which will hopefully improve you morally, spiritually, and mentally so that you can go forward knowing better how to address these types of situations, not just here in the high school, but just in life in general, because they're going to increase as you go further down in advance in your scholastic journey here into college and other places. Okay, so hopefully that helps clarify that a little bit for everyone.
Thank you so much, Brother Abel. And to answer the other parts of the question, first, I just want to say the writing piece, why do things need to be handwritten for certain parts of this class, is because what their studies show what writing does to your mind and what it impresses on your brain as opposed to typing. If we're talking about this introduction to ethics, and we're studying ourselves, the whole point of this class is to study ourselves, right? And so to imagine being able to expose, and I keep talking about exposing your own thoughts to yourself, right? So that importance of the piece of the writing is to be able to really process and internalize the material, and also for you to see where your mind is at. And typing just doesn't quite hit that for our mind, for our brains. So also how long this class will be, we have about two or three classes left, about three classes left. And then the homework, I would the only reason that the homework is so there's a lot of homework in it is because we don't have a lot of time. That's really it. It's like it's an intense study. I already knew coming in it would be intense study because there's a lot of things we need to cover in a very limited period of time. If this was over the course of a year, like a full school year, then I would have paced it out a little bit differently. But there's a lot of material that we need to cover in a short period of time, so it's more like a intensive, so to speak. And that's also why it goes over the break a little, goes over the break time, is because it's just a lot of material and it's really deep and study that we're getting into. So thank you so much, Brother Abel, for answering that question. Now, the next thing, the reason I didn't do a formal introduction is because I think the next question would actually do the introduction. I guess you would be introducing yourself in a bit, but the question is, or it's a few questions in one, which is, what is the story of Brother Abel? Meaning, where did it all start? How did Brother Abel become Brother Abel? What made you want to join the Nation of Islam, Brother Abel? How did you get into this line of work and duty? When did you decide to join the ministry?
Okay, so it's going back. I first was introduced to the teachings in high school. So I was a junior, I believe, in high school. And there was a young brother who was a senior who we would have study hall together. And he was a registered FOI. He was 18. He was on his way out of uh, high school. But in study hall, they would group us together by, I don't even know how they grouped us together because we weren't in alphabetical order because his last name was Valentine. And it wasn't quite a few letters away from my last names, what it started with. So maybe by first name, but that doesn't make sense either, uh, because they never said us by front name. So anyway, me, him, and two other people were sitting together, and he'd always bring his final calls to class, to study hall, because you were just basically to use that's like a chance to work on homework or do work or whatever. There was no teacher. You were just in a big like lunch area, and you got an hour to do work. And he would always have either his final calls or a book, How to Eat to Live, something like that with him. And I didn't know him, so and you're not really allowed to talk in study hall, so there wasn't like you were having a lot of conversation. But one day he was reading How to Eat to Live, and I saw on the top of it where it said "From God in Person," and it was just like I never saw a book with that on it. So I asked him, "Hey, what is that?" Kind of quietly while we had a moment. He said, "Oh, it's a book about a dietary law that we follow in as Muslims." I said, "Oh, can I see it?" And he kind of hesitated a little bit, but he let me read it, and I just kind of flipped through the pages because I was not a big reader. I didn't like reading or anything for cat. I wasn't somebody who just read books. I didn't even read the assignments they would give me in school, so I definitely didn't read books on my own. But I was fascinated by the little bit that I saw, and I asked him if I could read it. He said, "Sure, but you got to make sure you bring it back." And I was like, "Yeah, fine. I'm not trying to keep your book or whatever." And so I went home and I read it over the weekend in like 2 days. Because, How to Eat to Live is not a real big book. But I was completely fascinated by, I didn't understand a lot of it. Not because it was hard to read, but I didn't know who Elijah Muhammad was. I didn't know who Master Fard Muhammad was. So that kind of all went over my head. But I was fascinated by the simplicity and what he said about how our bodies work and eating just once a day. So for some reason, I just started following it. And everything that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said would happen in there in like 2, 3 weeks, I started feeling better. I could wake up on time without an alarm. I was better in school. I was better in my after school activities, playing sports and stuff. I had more energy than everybody else did. I felt like my mind was functioning faster. So I was like, oh man, that was awesome. Do you have anything else to read? And he told me about Message to the Black Man. So I purchased a copy. He brought it for me and I read it in like, I don't know, 4 days or something like that, 5 days. I just like couldn't stop reading that book because it answered all the stuff I ever wanted to know about God. So I started just following I didn't know who Minister Farrakhan was at this point, and I couldn't really talk to brother because in our high school, like I said, it wasn't like a session where you could just sit there and talk the whole period. So, it just happened one of those things where I started following it. So he graduated and I kept looking for other books. I started reading the Final Call newspaper. I finally heard the minister on a cassette. I didn't realize I had been hearing him in certain rap songs growing up. And I just started, following the books as best as I could until the minister's granddaughter was actually in my high school. She was a year behind me. And she kept inviting me out. She just kept saying, "You really just need to come to the mosque." I honestly, I didn't even know what a mosque was. So I figured it was like a church. I got that part of it. So finally in 1994, I went to the mosque for the first time on a Wednesday. And I really went there already knowing I believed. I just kind of wanted to experience what this was. I believed in the words and I was trying to follow them. So I went to the mosque and it was Brother Rasul, Minister Rasul Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with him, was the keynote speaker that night. And Student Minister Ishmael, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who were both raised in Mexico, were speaking that night. And the subject that Minister Rasul taught on was the mission of becoming a Muslim. And I already knew when I was in perfect just awe of everything and I wanted to learn more. So I accepted that night and I just kept studying and studying and studying until I joined finally officially and recited and became a member 4 years later in 1998. And after that, within a year, I was invited into the ministry class. I never wanted to be in the ministry class. That wasn't my objective for coming. I just wanted to learn and try to share what I learned with people. And I would always go to Friday night study group. And I didn't know, but Minister Ishmael and Minister Jeffrey at that time, they would come into Friday night study group and just go to different circles to listen to people and their answers. And depending on what they heard, you might get an invitation to come join the ministry class back then that way. So in 19, and I joined in January of 98. I was a lieutenant for Savior's Day, right after Savior's Day or right around Savior's Day time. I was in the lieutenant's class. And by the summer, I was in the ministry class in 98. And my first assignment was in 1999. I didn't know why I didn't want to be a minister, really. That was, like I said, not my objective. But they invited me to the class. And of course, I went because I figured it was a way to learn more. And then I got to meet the minister. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had a special meeting with those in the ministry class in Chicago. This is like summer, fall of 1998 still. I had never really seen the minister up close before. And in that session, there was very few of us, maybe 30 people in Muhammad University with the minister. And the minister came in looking very serious. And I was just happy to hear him. I was just happy to be in a meeting that close to the minister. And he came in real serious. And we were all sitting like in half, like circles around him. Instead of straight lines, it was like a crescent shape around him in the center in the front. And he just said, real serious, he said, I didn't come here to talk. I came to hear you, to everybody. And it was only maybe 30 people in there, like a classroom. And he said, I want to know why you want to be a minister. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't want to be a minister. But I can't say that to him in this class. And, when it was everybody got around, finally, when it came to my turn, he said, he asked me my name and he asked me where my family was from. I told him from Mexico. And he asked if I've ever gone back. I told him yes. He asked what my parents thought of the teachings and everything. And then he asked, and I said, well, I just want to help. That's why I'm here. Whatever I can do to help. If this is the way, then this is the way. He said, yeah. And then later he gave me some instructions that same day. And that's from there to here is how I've gotten into the ministry class. It was not something I wanted. I wanted the knowledge. And I saw how I personally benefited from it. And I wanted to help others benefit. But I never saw myself as a minister because I never liked talking in front of people. I was, when we would have, like, how sometimes you all have to present things in front of your class and read something. If I knew like I had to do a presentation in class, I would kind of cut school that day and pretend I was sick and stuff and stay home just so I wouldn't have to present because I was that insecure about not thinking I had something to offer. But it was when I got the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that went away because all of the stuff that I'd always felt insecure about knowing God and knowing myself, it answered all those questions. So it was like a totally different person now. And I wasn't like I was running to talk to people or be in front of people, but I didn't feel that same fear because I knew that what I was giving them wasn't from me, it was from God. So I could trust in what I was saying because it wasn't them telling them what I think. I was giving them what God said. And that gave me a different level of confidence, if you will, to share that with them. So really, that's the way I came into the ministry. And that really has been my path now for 20 years approximately. That started back in 1999. It was my first assignment in Joliet, Illinois, here in not far from Chicago. And I've just kind of been moving around and trying to share the word and the bigger challenge is sharing it in Spanish with people. But even those from different backgrounds, because they have a different way that they see their life and reality. So there's a translation of language and then there's a translation of culture that also has to take place. And that has been my study. And the minister gave it to me the first time I met him when he told me, he said, don't get bogged down by all the black talk. He said, put it in a way so that your people understand it. And that has been what I've been trying to do ever since. That was in 1998 that he gave me that. And I've been trying to catch up with those instructions ever since.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you. That was powerful. I was inspired by you sharing your story, and I imagine many of the students were as well. Um, so on a similar note of questions about you. There were questions even about themselves. And so like the questions, I'm gonna just read them off. Because they're related. How can you figure out who you are? How can I accept who I am and be myself if I don't truly know myself? If I feel like I know myself, but if I look deeper, I find that I cannot fully grasp my essence. I
Mm.
see a light within me and darkness surrounding it, yet the light grows each day. I seek forgiveness and mercy, it expands. I know it's growing, but I do not know if that is truly me.
Wow, that's beautiful. And that's not exclusive to whoever wrote that. Everybody has that battle, and you have it for the rest of your life. Everything is a journey to become one with Allah, which when you do that, you also become one with yourself. And that's a lifelong journey. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that it takes 75 years just to learn how to live. Think about that. It takes 75 years just to learn how to live. That means it's going to take you a while to figure it all out. And there'll be aspects and times in your life where you're like, I think this is what I'm supposed to do. And then you go and do it, and then you've done it, and now you're like, all right, I don't know, I'm still not fulfilled. What else I got to do? It's only in the white man's world that we think that there's only one thing for us. Have you all ever watched or heard on Final Call Radio the Healthy Minute with Dr. Sophia? Have you all seen or heard her? She's an actual real like doctor, right? Do you know she's also an astrophysicist? She's got multiple high-level degrees. The only reason I know that is because my oldest daughter, when she was little, she wanted to be a doctor and a physicist. And me and my wife, in our ignorance, we told her luckily we didn't tell her. We thought she can't do both. She's got to decide. And then one day I was listening to Dr. Sophia on being interviewed someplace, and she mentioned that she had two high degrees, one as a physicist and one as a doctor, an actual physician. And I said, well, God, who told us we can't do all of these things? Who said you can't be a doctor and a lawyer? The white man, because they're trying to, what they're saying is you don't have enough time to do these things or enough money because you're going to get into debt with these and then you're going to be too old to pay off the debt. That's what they're saying. They're not thinking from the mind of God. There's no limit to what you can do. So when Allah inspires you to do something of good, go after it. But don't also be one of those people who just is a jack of all trades and a master of none. Discipline your life, think about it, set out a plan, and then run the course, finish it. And then once you've completed that task, if there's another task that comes up, then do that. Don't just be somebody sampling everything and you actually become good at nothing. Because you do have many gifts and talents, but the only way to develop any of them, even as an artist, is to take time, and it takes discipline, and it takes us practicing and learning and then applying it and repeatedly doing these things until we become masters. And it's the same with even discovering ourselves. You're changing right now, and you are changing every day of your life if you're living life properly. The minister is still studying. Wait for this one. Master Fard Muhammad is still studying. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still studying because life keeps revealing things. And the more you and I learn and know, we discover that there's more to learn and know. And so there's never an end to this process. So don't think you got to figure it out by the time you're out of high school. That will never happen. But you can figure some things out about yourself that will help you make it to the next thing to figure out, to the next thing to figure out. And the key to all of that is Allah. Your trust, your faith in Allah gives you the patience, gives you the calmness that even when you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You're right. You and I don't know. But you know who does know? Allah. You didn't create yourself. So how could you have the answers for your life without his assistance? Your parents didn't give you life. They may have thought that, oh, I would like to have a baby. Mom and dad decided we want to have a baby. They did not give you life. Allah is the author of life. He blessed them to be the vehicles through which you come to life, but they can't give you your purpose. And guess what? They can help you discover yours, but at the end of the day, even with all their help, it still comes down to you and Allah. They can pray for you, and believe me, nobody prays for you like your mom. Nobody prays for you like your dad. But you know who does? You. When you really need Allah, when you really surrender, even mom's prayers don't equal to your own prayers for yourself. So that relationship between you and Allah is critical. You got to ask him, oh Allah, what would you have me to do? I want to be a rapper because I like rapping and I'm good at it. I like singing and I'm good at it. Maybe it's even I want to be a writer because I'm good at it. I want to help people with mental health because I care about them. But ask Allah, is this what you want from me? And then be courageous enough to accept his answer. Because sometimes we want what we want. And Allah will allow us, he'll guide us to what we want. But it may not be what Allah desires for you and I. But he loves us and he respects what he created so much that he will allow us to choose things which he doesn't choose or desire for us. And then we got to suffer the consequences of our own decisions. That's why we pray so much. Prayer is not just some ritual for 5 times a day. When you start school, you should say a prayer, not just waiting for Sister Jean or somebody to lead the school in prayer. When you're getting to log on to Zoom, say a little prayer. Ask Allah, oh Allah, make this a good day in school for me. Help my attention to be there. Help me to not forget any assignments. Help me to have the right spirit. Help me to have the right focus today. Don't make today a trial for me, please, Allah. He can make the way smooth for you, but we got to ask. I'll share this with you all. I spoke at a church yesterday for Easter for our sister, Reverend Dr. Emma Lozano, who is a Mexican sister who has a church that in 2015, when Minister Farrakhan was heading to D.C. for the Justice or Else March, 10 years ago now, wow, that's a long time ago, the last place he spoke on his tour was at this church here in Pilsen in the Mexican community in Chicago. He ended his tour in September to give him a month to rest before going to D.C. He spoke at her little humble church. The church was packed with people, almost all Mexican. And I didn't know this, but she shared it with me yesterday because she was in tears because she was so moved by everything that had happened. She said, you know, when the minister was here at our little church, I asked him, Minister Farrakhan, why did you bless us? Why did you choose our church to speak at and to end your tour? And why even just here? Why would you speak in our little church? And she said that the minister turned to her real quick as soon as she asked. And he said, because you're the only one who asked. Sometimes it's just that simple. We don't ask Allah, so he can't give to us. Could you imagine? He says, pray to me, call on me, I will answer you. But if we don't call, he can answer you, but we make it harder for ourselves sometimes. Sometimes it's just opening our mouths and calling on him. Oh, Allah, I don't know what to do with my life. Not you try to figure it out. Ask him who's the author of Allah, of life, Allah. Ask him, Allah, why do you want me here? What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to do with my life? Ask him to make it clear to you. Ask him to point out the way to you. Show him or ask him to show you what it is that he brought you into the world to do. Because when you find that thing, you'll find joy in it. You'll find fulfillment in it. I could do this all day, all night. I could wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And if somebody says they have a question for you about something in the teachings, I'll wake right up. I would not get tired of doing this. I'll get thirsty and my voice will run out before my energy would run out. Because I love this. There's nothing else I would want to do. I've tried other things. There's other things I'm good at, but eventually I get tired of them. This, I don't get tired of. Get a little sleepy. Give me go get some coffee. I can keep going. Get some water. I can keep going. That's what you're looking for. The thing that when you pursue it, it gives you fulfillment and happiness. That's the freedom that Allah gives us. But in that freedom, we need his guidance so that we're not wasting a lot of time. And we are not disappointed or wasting time doing things that at the end of the day we don't even want. It's just it sounds good, it sounds easy. I'm gonna be an artist. Why? Because we think there's no challenge to it. Who can tell me my painting is wrong? Well, nobody. But what are you gonna do with that? How are you gonna feed yourself with that? See, whatever Allah gives us a gift, all of us are artists about something. But there's also something tangible we're supposed to do with our lives. So we have to make sure that we're not copping out and choosing a road that we think has less resistance, because you're going to find it may have less resistance because it's not leading anywhere. The road that leads to your joy may be filled, and it probably will be filled with difficulty, with obstacles. So what this class and even this school is designed to do is equip you to face the difficulties and overcome them, not run from them. Because as long as you run from difficulties, you'll never get to the other side of difficulty where your joy is. So that's what I would say to all of you all. When you find that light, that purpose in your life, hold on to it. But that doesn't mean it's going to be all easy now. Now you got to work hard in the name of Allah and work cheerfully with the right attitude, knowing that I know that Allah has this for me, but there's a difficulty factor attached to everything of value. And when you found your value, oh man, it's going to be difficult to get there. Don't punk out on the difficulty. Learn and lean on those around you who can help you through it so that you can overcome. Because if you become that person who runs from every difficulty, you'll never become anything in life. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yes, sir. You actually answered a few questions in one.
Praise
Thank
be
you
to Allah.
so much. Praise be to Allah. The next question, which is related to something that you had mentioned in your answer, is how can I know when Allah is trying to speak with me?
That's a beautiful question. You know the truth because it makes you feel a kind of way. Sometimes you ever heard the phrase truth hurts? You all heard that before, that the truth hurts?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
was I
Yes.
was talking
Yes, sir.
to I was talking to a young girl yesterday after I spoke at the church. She was walking on crutches because she had injured her foot. She had torn ligaments and a fracture in it, but she had been out the last 2 weeks when I spoke at the church, that she didn't want to miss it. She even brought her mom with her. And then she came to me to speak with me afterwards. And as we were talking, because I was talking a lot about truth the last 3 weeks, she said, my mom always taught me that the truth hurts, but it only hurts once. A lie hurts and keeps hurting you. And I think sometimes when Allah's speaking to us, it may be a painful truth, a difficult truth that we have to accept about ourselves. And it goes right hand in hand with what I was saying. We can't punk out when we feel the sting of truth, because in that truth, on the other side of it, it will be painful for that moment. But after that, it'll settle in and you'll be like, that was right. Man. Versus a lie, it's constantly deteriorating. It's constantly creating insecurity in you. The truth may sting you at the initial moment that you hear it, but it'll set you right after that, and you'll be thankful for it in the long run. That's the way things are with Allah too. He is so loving. He never wants to hurt us, but he does have to sometimes get us to see certain things about ourselves. So don't think that your friend is the person who tells you what you think you want to hear. And Allah is your best friend. But your true friends in life are the people who tell you what you need to hear, whether you like it or not. See, that's a friend. The friend who says, nah, Brother Khalik, don't smoke that. Like, but what are you talking about, man? Everybody got to experiment. Don't do it, brother. You know better. That's the friend. Not the friend that says, oh, man, you're a lame, man. You don't ever want to do nothing. Yeah, I don't want to do nothing that I know is wrong. That don't make no sense. When you start to live in falsehood and in that which is untrue, a lie does not reproduce anything but more lies. Every falsehood is an unreality. It never existed. It won't exist. So when we latch on to truth, even if at first that truth is uncomfortable, we will grow from it. We will benefit from it in the long run, where the falsehood, it's never going to benefit from you. It puts you into this constant cycle of insecurity because you're always afraid somebody's going to find out the truth. Yes, Brother Chase, that's the root of it. A true friend wants what's better for you. And any true friend, if they don't bring God to you, they're not really your friend. If they can excuse you from what God, which first of all, they can't, but if they attempt to excuse you from what God's way is, that's not your friend. It may not be that they're your open enemy, but it may be somebody who their relationship with Allah isn't as tight as it needs to be. So their insecurities, now they want somebody in their insecurity with them. That's why the believers are friends of one another. Because if Sister Hadia is feeling down, Sister Ilea can pull her up and say, no, Sister Hadia. You'll be okay. Let's say a prayer together. Let's do this together. Prayer works only if you use it. Trust in Allah is good only if you have faith in him. All you got to do is remember in the moment of weakness, when you feel insecure, call on him. And you all are blessed because you know him by his name. You don't have to say, oh God. You don't even have to just say Allah, although Allah covers it all. You can call him by his personal name. Oh Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. I need you right now. Do you know he's waiting on that call? I mean, he loves and knows each one of you, Sister Aubrey, Brother Chase, Brother Ismail, Brother Akil. You come out of the mind of Master Fard Muhammad. You exist because he wanted you here. You're not here by some accident. Well, you might say, well, my parents weren't married. They don't need to be married. Jesus comes out of a weird circumstance that he's born out of, yet he's the most important man of Scripture. Whatever circumstances individually brought you here. There's a young Asian girl who was at the church that I was at yesterday who's an orphan. She was raised by Caucasian people, but she's estranged from them now. And she had many problems growing up because she felt like, man, her parents didn't love her enough to keep her. So she doesn't even know her parents at all. But the more she's been coming out, and when I've talked to her, we see her growing and developing, because I keep telling her, it doesn't matter. Of course, everyone wants to know their physical parents. But if you know your spiritual father, God, he can heal all of that other stuff. He can make you a new person. He can restore you. He can make you stronger. He can clarify things for you, but you got to know him and trust him. You got to know that you're worthy of his love. You got to know that he loves you in spite of whatever we've done and will do. He did not come to destroy and punish you. He could have been done that already. He's got a wheel up there that can destroy everything in just a few seconds. Why hasn't he done it? Because his purpose is not to destroy any of us or to punish us. He's not sitting there watching going, what is Sister Aliyah going to do next? So I could shoot down some punishment for her. You think the Lord of the worlds is sitting there waiting? I'm waiting for Kabir and Lamarcus to mess up so I could punish them. No, he came to wipe away every tear. But there are consequences, and he's trying to save us from the consequences of our own faults and our own bad deeds. The only way to do that is to fix up here. And the only way to truly fix up here is to realize that this world and all of its knowledge is not equal to what God has offered us. So we're constantly trying to feed you what we know is the best mental food to eat so that you can think the best thoughts. And there's no better thought than to be thinking about Allah. We stop at least 5 times a day to pray, but that's not the only time we should be communing with Allah. I'm telling you, before you take your test, even after you've studied, say a little prayer. Oh Allah, help me not to make a mistake here. He answers you. Now, you can't think that you can't study and just pray and you're going to get a good grade. There is no mystery God. But you got to give him something to work with. Study and pray. Work and pray, and then work some more. But call on him. When you're feeling lazy, say, oh Allah, please get this off of me. I got stuff to do and I'm just not feeling it. Help me get out of this mood. But then you got to do something to get out of the mood too. You can't feel like that and turn on the same TV and the same music that put you in that funky mood. You got to go and attach to that which gives life. Go and read just one sentence. You don't have to read the whole Quran. Just open it up and read one sentence. Look at this. I just opened up randomly. Oh, you who believe, when you contract a debt for a fixed time, write it down. Wow, that's a beautiful principle. It's talking about money. It's talking about a debt. Well, do you know that all of us are in debt to Allah for the life that he gave us? We can never repay him. But maybe if we remember, man, this life is a gift from Allah. I can never repay that debt. The least I could do is say my little prayers. The least I can do is call on him. The least I can do is say, thank you, Allah, for this life. And after we're in the spirit of gratitude, our attitude changes. And now we can go back to him and ask, oh, Allah, I'm grateful. Thank you. I feel better. Now what would you have me to do, Allah? What should I do? And you'll be surprised. Instantly, something will come to mind. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I got to do this. I told my mom I was going to wash the dishes. Man, let me go do that. And you're washing the dishes. And, oh, man, I forgot. I got to finish this science project. Oh, man. Okay, I'm glad because our attitude changed. Because we moved from insecurity to just being grateful for what we already have. And we're securing what we already have. And it opens up the way for us to access even more. So the key is your and my individual relationship with Allah. And the only way to secure that is to make sure you're feeding from the man who Allah has given us to guide us, to make us secure with him. And that man in front of us is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can't get to Allah and think you can ignore them. They are the key to our salvation. Believe it or not, every question you have, the minister has already answered it. Those books, I have them up here someplace, the Twitter books, the Twitter sayings of the minister, he's answered hundreds, if not thousands of questions. There are hundreds, if not thousands of lectures dealing with depression, dealing with loss of a loved one, dealing with financial trouble, dealing with relationship trouble, dealing with how you see yourself, school trouble, what to do with your life. He's answered everything already. But there is no mystery, God. You have to go and look, seek, and you shall find. So this is good to ask questions, but start with Allah. Ask him, and then don't just ask and think, all right, all of a sudden a lecture is going to fall out of the sky into my lap. Nope. All right, Allah, use your Google for good and not just evil. Use your Google and search Farrakhan and whatever it is that you're thinking about. What does Minister Farrakhan say I should do with my life as a 16-year-old girl in Houston, Texas, or a 14-year-old boy in Georgia? What does Minister Farrakhan give as guidance for Black youth? Look it up and then see if Allah didn't already speak into what you're feeling. All right? So don't think that this is strange. It's natural. You're at that age where you're trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. But the correct place to look is within, in you, because that's where the kingdom is. That's where your joy is. That's where your heaven is, inside of yourself. But you need somebody to guide you, to evolve it, to grow it, to let it become reality. Because right now it's just a seed in you. That light that you feel and it's growing, because you got to keep feeding it, giving it the right amount of water, giving it the right amount of light. And it's interesting that the teachings we've been given have light, life, and power in them. And we're taught that the water is symbolic for the word of God. So you need both. Read the scripture and then hear the man who has been given the guidance to understanding what the scripture is talking about. Keep doing that formula. Keep studying, keep looking at the world, keep observing it, keep looking at yourself. As you discover new things, as you get more questions, you should go to Allah every day with questions and say, thank you for answering that one, but I got another one. And he's not going to get tired. That means you're connected to him and he's becoming your best friend. Don't you want to talk to your best friend every day, all the time? Your BFF? Well, Allah's your real BFF because your friend may not be here tomorrow. Or you all could fall out because you had a misunderstanding. Allah's never going to fall out with us. He's always merciful. He's always forgiving. We just have to keep seeking him. All right.
Wow, brother Abel, you gave us such practical steps to work with, things to get started with on this journey. And I also wanted to add to what you were saying about always asking, seeking a lot. I can personally testify with that myself. Whenever I realized this actually in high school, I realized in high school I had a lot of questions and I started studying and I got some of the answers, but then I was like, more questions would come up. I remember one time in particular, I was in college and I had taken a women in religion class, and there was a question that my professor had asked, and I was like, wow, I thought I understood this topic up to this point, and I couldn't answer it because I wanted to go based on the teachings and my responses, right? And I was like, oh Allah, I don't have the answer to this. Can you please give me the answer? And I've learned over time that when you're patient, he will always provide it. And the more like, and sometimes it took years, like literal, like 3, 4, 5 years, but eventually the answer came. Like, oh my gosh, that was the answer. But like the more I've been asking, the more that like I'm just seeking for it and it will come. It will come sometimes in a Sunday message. Sometimes it's like an article from Mother Tynetta. Like it, but it will come. And so I just wanted to testify with that, Brother Abel. And I know we're a little bit over time, and I was wondering if you might have about there's one question at least I want to get through.
Sure,
If you might
definitely.
have about 10, is 10 minutes, 4 minutes okay? About
Yeah,
10
that's
minutes?
fine. That's fine. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But this question I think is really, really important because it helps set the foundation even to what you had just said. It's a few students' questions wrapped into, yeah, it's a few students' questions. And just the questions are, if there's more than one religion, why are Muslims so sure Islam's the real one? What makes them believe? Why is it important to listen and comprehend important messages? How do we know that another question similar? How do we know the Nation of Islam is the truth? How do we know that we are following God's will? How must we be ourselves? Where it says, I believe and trust in the Nation of Islam, but my mind is telling me the Nation of Islam is wrong and I must follow the Muslim world. How must I kill that voice? And how do I know if it is incorrect or correct?
Well, and those are all valid questions that we wrestle with as young people because we're influenced by things in the world. Well, first, I would start by saying that Islam is not a religion as such. It's the nature in which Allah created everything, and it's the very nature of Allah. It's been codified for us as a religion in this time frame, but it's actually the nature of everything, which is peace. God doesn't make anything for confusion or in confusion. It's all rooted and made out of his essence. So his essence is Islam. In the Nation of Islam, we have a up-to-date teaching because the Holy Quran tells us that he gives to every people and every nation their way of devotion. God and the universe in which we live is constantly changing, constantly evolving, not from gorillas to men. That's not evolution. Evolution is that something begins on a journey and it continues on that journey until it becomes and reaches its eventual perfection. It took us trillions of years to get to this point. You know, you've heard that phrase, you know, about how my ancestors are present in me and I'm my ancestors, Dreams come true. Yes, yes, yes. Yet you and I are nothing like our ancestors. There's some of them in us, but they didn't look like us. I'm talking about our ancestors going back thousands and trillions of years. They didn't speak like us. They didn't think like us. Just look at how different you are from your grandparents. And that was just a few years ago. Even look at how different you are from your parents. They're in you, their genetics is in you, but you're different from them. So Islam is moving on. Islam is evolving. Islam is growing. What Islam was 1400 years ago in Arabia, it's not that in America. And what Islam was before Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it's not that today anymore. In terms of practice, there was a time that we didn't have 5 daily prayers, but there was still Islam in the world. There was a time before Prophet Muhammad. Islam didn't begin with Prophet Muhammad. He was the latest messenger and prophet at that time through whom revelation was given. But he's not the originator or father of Islam. So those practices that were given to the Arab people as their way of devotion has universal principles in it that all of us can benefit from. That's why we practice some of the rituals of the religion, but we don't want to become ritualistic. In the Arab world, they pray 5 times a day. That's wonderful. And you know what they do with those 5 prayers? We see what they do. Even with their 5 prayers, even speaking Arabic, they come and they'll open up a place where they sell tobacco to people. They'll come in and open up a place where they sell pork to people. Because they've lost the direction and the purpose of Islam, so they become ritualized in Islam, unfortunately. Many people, not all, of course, but many. They care more about money. They care more about profit. They care more about like ritual. How long should your garment be? Where should the sister's headpiece be? How long should your beard be? Oh, you're not a true Muslim if you don't have a beard. Because the prophet had a beard. Because the prophet wore it this way. Because the prophet, yes. But what was the principle? The prophet rode camels. None of them are riding camels. So there is always the evolving of people and circumstances, and Allah is the author of that evolution. We're moving more and getting more pure, more perfect every generation. So what you're looking at, it looks different from the Muslim world of the East. They're not wrong, but that's not what Allah gave to you and I. He gave to us our way of devotion. And in our way of devotion, we don't speak Arabic growing up here. We're learning it now, but that's not the society we live amongst. We don't live in a world where we're the dominant force as Islam. There's more Christians in this part of the world than there are Muslims. So we're in a different reality than they are over there. Yes, they've been around for 1400 years. They have well-established order of things. They had revelation for 1400 years. So yes, they have great wealth right now. Because when something is revealed that was not known to human beings, that knowledge makes you superior because you're superior in knowledge. And you know something that others don't. Of course, you're going to be able to benefit from that. We've only been around here 94 going on 95 years here in the Nation of Islam. Yet look at us. We're in the most wicked government that has ever existed. And we're beginning to bud. We're beginning to sprout and grow. And it's little at first, because it hasn't even been 1 century of our existence here in the West. But they haven't been able to destroy us. The rebuilding of the Nation of Islam has only been 40, 50 years now. Not even quite 50 years now, going into the approaching 50 years. And look at where we are now in just a generation and a half, 2 generations. We have our own schools. We have our own mosques. We have our national center. We have national webcasts. This at the same time while we have all of them hating us and working against us. The white governments don't want us here. The enemies of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from the Muslim world, from the Jewish world, from the Christian world, all of the most powerful people on the planet don't want us to exist. Yet here we are with no guns, no weapons here. They don't and can't destroy us because we have a truth that will overcome all of them. The Islam that was given to Prophet Muhammad, the teachings that were given to Jesus, the guidance that was given to Moses, it's one universal truth in them, but within or covering that universal principles of truth, there were teachings that addressed what was going on at that time with those people. So there's a bunch of stuff, if you read about all the laws that Moses gave, you're like, man, what does this have to do with me? I don't dress like this. I don't live like, what are they talking about? That you should do this with a goat. I ain't even ever seen a goat in my life. How am I going to sacrifice one? I don't even have one. None in the area around me. But back then it was common. So they used them for certain worship. In the time of Prophet Muhammad, when you read the Quran, it's hard to get a context. They're talking about sacrificing a she-camel. You're like, I don't know what a he-camel or a she-camel is. I've never seen one. Context. But there's a principle inside of there which applies and is of benefit to our lives. I'm saying all of that to say that it's okay to study those things because there's truth in them. Absolutely, because it's from Allah. What was given to Prophet Muhammad, what was given to Jesus, what was given to Moses, we should. We as members of the Nation of Islam have to be able to connect the dots from Muhammad to Jesus or Jesus to Muhammad to the Muhammad of today. Because there's a oneness in them, because they come from the same source. But what we have today, and I'm not going to shy away from this, is superior. Because what we've been given has been a secret for 66 trillion years. Moses, Jesus, nor Muhammad received that. You and I are blessed with that. The knowledge of God, the knowledge of yourself, the knowledge of your enemy. They did not have that knowledge. And because of that, we're hated in the world. And the truth that we've been given is an invincible truth, but you have to not just learn it and memorize it, you have to study it. Apply your mind to it. And more than just apply your mind to it, once you've applied your mind and focused on it, then you have to start to live by the principles in it. And when you do that, you'll start to realize, man, I would not trade this for all of whatever you have in this world. Because everything in this world of the enemy is not equal to the best of what we've been given, which is from Allah himself. So I just wanted you to know that you and I may study these other things because there's truth in them. But don't think for a second that it's superior to what you've been given by Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. There's much for us to learn from these other traditions, but it isn't better. If it was better, they'd be in a better condition and be able to help us better. But because they hold on to their rituals and traditions, they don't offer us the support that they can because they want to be in the superior position. Because even with the truth that they were taught, they have sullied it. They've made it dirty because they're not working anymore in too many instances to improve themselves. We don't want to be like that. We want to be a nation that only obeys Allah and only follows his way based on the guidance of his messenger to us, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the extension of that message today in the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you just stick with them, we will make it through. If we stick with them, we will win every argument, every discussion, because their way wins. Nobody has defeated them yet. from all of those worlds combined. So we don't have to look up to them. Man, they got such big, beautiful mosques. They got all of these businesses. Yep, because they're willing to compromise what Allah has given to them. And we will not. And we are guaranteed the victory from Allah if we are steadfast, if we hold on and follow the guidance of the guide that He has given to us exclusively out of His love and choice for you and I. So hold on to the handle of Allah, the handle of Islam, the rope of Allah. And that rope is being held on the other side by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They're not going to let go. But we got to decide, am I going to hold on or am I going to get shooken off by this world?
Wow, thank you so much, Brother Abel. Unfortunately, we are getting short on our time, and we
Yes,
had
ma'am.
so many amazing questions from the students. And so you and I can maybe discuss after what we might be able to do with those. But if nothing else, everyone, as Brother Abel had mentioned earlier, the answers are out there. Seek and ye shall find. So even if we didn't get to your direct question, um, search and you will find it in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I will also add that as we close out, I would love to hear your feedback on Brother Abel coming today. Did you all get something out of it? Did you learn something or get a new perspective that you were searching for? Please definitely share it in the chat where your feedback about today's Q&A session. And with that, also, let us also thank Brother Abel for joining us today.
Thank you, Brother Abel, for your
Thank you, Brother Abel.
insightful knowledge.
Praise be to Allah. And hopefully, if we can get the questions, I'll try to answer more of them, even if it's written or in a recording or something, so we can get it to whoever has those questions still. I don't want any of your questions unanswered, but I don't want to keep, I know we're over time already.
Yes, sir. Thank you again. And what we're going to do, everyone, in our last 5 minutes, well, I know we're a little bit older time, so maybe I'll give it like 3 minutes, but it's always important to, whenever we're getting information like this, or really at any time, to reflect on it. And so I just wanted to just take a very, very, very quick moment to give me 1 second to share my screen, everybody. Okay. Um, just let's just do a very, very quick reflection. We'll do like I'll put even just 2 minutes because we're over time. But write about anything that's on your mind right now. If there's something you want to unpack based on today's Q&A, take the time to do it now. If there's something else you feel you need to unpack that's weighing heavily on your mind, you may do that now. Just write something for the full 2 minutes that we have. And if you need more time, you may continue journaling once class is over. So like I said, since we're already over time, we'll do let's say 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes of it. And then class will be over. So I'm gonna start the timer. And this is not, this is for your personal journal. So you're not sharing this for your homework. All right, about 8 seconds. So begin closing out your thoughts. Or, we're about to close out, so you can just continue after we're done. But again, everyone, thank you for coming to class today. Looks like a couple of people might have dropped off. But thank you for coming for class today. And I don't have anything else. Like I said, Thursday, there's no class. You still have a homework due Wednesday evening, 11:59 p.m. Central Time, and then another homework will release by Thursday. And Sister Gina Tay, if she has anything else, I'm done. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Waalaikumsalam.
Well,
Walaikum salam.
Sister Kadira, could we all please stand for prayer? This was a very nice, Sister Kadira. Thank you so much.
Praise be to Allah. And thank Brother Abel too.
Oh, I will. Praise be to Allah. All right, everyone, could we please stand for prayer? Position of prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, Master of the day of requital in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and Thee alone do we beseech for help. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path upon whom Thou hast bestowed favor, not the path upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after hearing your teaching. Amen. All right, you all, please make sure you are tuning in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, to support your school. You may even call in and give a nice comment. Now, if you got bad comment, don't call. But anyway, I want you all to know, if no one has told you they love you today, I do. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam.
Wa alaikum salam.